Have you ever asked the question, what's my purpose? Why am I here? What am I doing? Why do I exist? Well, let me take you back to a time and point of history in 1646. And I know some of you are saying, I hate history. Why am I learning this? Please just keep going. Well, in 1646, bear with me, Westminster Assembly, which is basically a group of really smart English and Scottish theologians. They know a lot about the Bible, and they asked this question: what is the standard of Christian living? In essence, what is the purpose of Christians? And their first question that they asked themselves is, what is the chief end of man? And this question comes at a really interesting point of history. And the reason why it comes at a really interesting point is, number one, the entire authority, the government is fighting. King Charles is fighting with Parliament about who really has control, who really is the voice of England. And they're fighting, and they can't agree on anything. And there was a religious tension between Catholics, Protestants, Puritans, Scottish religious practices that are being forced upon them. And there's no clarity of what does it mean to be a Christian. And then the last one is the economic pressure, because money was tight and people didn't really know how to live or the way that they're going to put food on the table, or what does it look like to have a job in the next 6 months, year, or whatever it was. There's dissatisfaction between various social classes. And it ended up turning into a civil war, and there's conflict among the people, the government with the people, and so on and so forth. And I love that the theologians, teachers, and the people of the Bible thought it was the Christian duty to ask, what is the purpose in the midst of uncertainty, chaos, confusion, and all things? And in the words of Chris Brown, I think it's important for us to say, have you been there? In today's climate, in today's world, where there's so much confusion with government, with people, with jobs, with social economics of what is it going to look like in 6 months, in November, after that, we have to ask this question: what is the chief end of man? What is our purpose? What is our reasoning? What are we doing? And I love the answer. It's the man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him in everything. And I think a simple way of us looking at this from a scriptural standpoint is Matthew 22, 37 through 39. And it reads this: is the greatest commandment of our lives is to love God with all of our heart, mind, and soul, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. And I think it's so important that we understand the greatest command is our heart, our mind, and soul. And it's important that we understand that it's with all of our being that we surrender our life to Him, to love Him, to fill our hearts, to fill our minds, to fill everything that we have, to love Him. And I think it's so important. It's the greatest command, because if it's not the greatest command, then we'll fail to love others the best. That's right. When we love God the greatest, we love others the best. I don't know if that's good English, but I think it's really good Bible. Thanks, Chris Brown. It's really good Bible. And for us in today's generation, today's world, I think we need love the most. And that's for you in the workplace. How can I love others the best? How can I surrender my time? How can I surrender everything that I am? How can I love my kids the best? How can I love the people I'm going to school with the best? It really starts with loving God first. And I think as we enter into a time of confusion, of a lack of clarity, of everything that we have, what would it look like for you to go tomorrow saying, what is my purpose? To love God, to love others. What does it look like for me to surrender my life? To love God, to love others. Why do I exist? To love God, to love others. It's the simple clarity that I love what they did back then. And hopefully it's the simple clarity that I can provide for you today, that your purpose is to love God, to love others.